don't expect Pearl to follow the crowd. Kelly Hoppen's eye-catching interiors may grab the headlines, but Bill Dixon's razor-sharp exterior lines deserve credit as well, as does his eye for clever packaging. This 61-footer with a 17.5-foot beam has on board 4 double cabins and 3 bathrooms, plus the option of a separate crew cabin at the aft end. It weighs 32 tonnes and has an all-IPS engine lineup of twin 725, 800 or 900 horsepower. To this specification with a hardtop, seakeeper stabiliser, air conditioning, hydraulic bathing platform and passerelle, the boat cost £1.99 million, including VAT. £2 million is a lot of money by anybody's standards, but in this sector, as oxymoronic as it sounds, that's good value. Let's have a closer look on board then. So here at the transom, this rack here is for mounting a jet ski, and that slides back into this garage section. So this opens up and then that rack slides back in, so you can stow a jet ski or a small tender in there and leave this hydraulic bathing platform completely clear. And this platform extends and it also drops down into the water. You can have a crew cabin back here if you prefer, but then you'll lose the garage storage if you have that option. Up here in the cockpit, you have a nice big table here, wrap of seating. The backrests look a little bit low on this end, might be a little bit uncomfortable, but you have got space opposite for a couple of proper chairs, which is quite nice. And then we're going to start by going straight up onto the Flybridge, which feels very large for a boat of this size. It feels bigger than the Flybridge of a 61-foot boat, that's for sure. And what's really nice is that you have this hardtop, and it's got a canvas section as well, so you have a sunroof that can provide a bit of protection if you want to get some shade here over the double helm which you have forward here. A bit of storage on this side, you've got your twin Garmin MFDs, of course you have your steering wheel and throttles, and there's a joystick up here as well to control the Volvo Penta IPS pods. Pair of helm chairs here, there's no bolster function, but they do slide fore and aft, so you can get them a bit further to the dashboard if you want to. Now over on this side, this is currently set up in sunpad mode, but you can remove those 2 middle cushions there, so then you have a bench seat so that people can face forward when the boat is moving along and keep the 2 people sitting at the helm company. And midships you have this nice big dinette here. There's actually storage underneath these seats. You can see these lift up and there's storage underneath these if you need it. Then you have this big wet bar, L-shaped wet bar. Here you have a grill, you have a top loading fridge as well. Grill and sink on the other side, really good size. Then you have a bit more storage and you have your fridge and an ice maker as well. After, there's some different layout options, so you have the 2 L-shaped pods of seating here. These 2 stools, you can move those, so for example you could bring them to this side of the table so you can sit 2 more people around the table during lunch, or you can have a sun pad here and keep this L-shaped seating on the starboard side, or you can lose that and just have the sun pad here. It's up to you. There's something quite sculptural about the stern gear on this boat, nice polished stainless steel. You've got a 3-way fair lead, you've got this nice substantial cleat, and then you have a winch as well so you can tighten the lines easily. Something you'll need on a boat of this size and weight. If we move forward down the starboard side, good width on the side decks, and there's a little step up amidships, and there's an option. You have a side door here which opens up and that takes you straight into the helm. It's another route into the boat, which is quite useful. And then we get to the foredeck, which is another really nice area. You have some storage under here, there's storage on both sides. Note that you have these quick reference catches, so if the red side's up you know it's locked, so you can just look and know that the cupboards are locked. Bit of storage under here for covers and lines, as you can see. You also have some cup holders, you have pop-up lights as well. Those are dotted here on the foredeck, and you also have a canopy. There's 4 poles, they store back in that transom garage, and then you can have a canopy that provides some shelter up here if you need it. Obviously you have the table, it's a nice touch that flips away. You also have flip up backrests here on this sunpad, so they're a bit more comfortable when you're moving along. Very nice living space in good weather this. You can see up here you have a repeater for the Fusion stereo system, so you can control the music from up here as well, which is quite nice. Moving right forward, you have your ground tackle, polished stainless steel anchor, more nice substantial fair leads. Under here you have access to the chain, that all gathers down there, and then you have some smaller lockers here, a little drain in them on each side. So here you have two-part sliding doors, so that you can see they slide right up against the staircase here, and then over here you have a window section that drops down into the countertop, opens up the galley so that you can use this area as a bar to serve the cockpit and the outdoor spaces. And as with every Pearl, exterior design, naval architecture is done by Bill Dixon, and the interior is done by Kelly Hoppen, and for me this is the best design she's done for them. I really love the feel, the look, the style, the fact that it's not got too many sharp corners to catch yourself on. It's really nicely done, nicely judged, and it feels special. It feels different. That's what Pearl tried to do. They tried to feel a bit different to the competition, and it certainly does that. It's a really nice space. You have lots of countertop here. I really like the detail of the sink. You have a chopping board that comes out. It looks really stylish. In this little section here you have storage that pops out, which got bespoke slots for all of the boat's cutlery. Likewise, in here you have bespoke slots for the boat's crockery. You have a full-size domestic fridge and freezer. I'd probably like to see a more substantial catch on here. You've only got these small plastic catches. A nice locking catch would probably be a good addition. You have a Miele oven here, induction hob, and then you have a dishwasher down here as well. Now this is currently in a sort of breakfast table setup. You can have a more formal dining area with a bigger table if you wish. You get an extended table and L-shaped seating, so it's more of a formal dining table. This breakfast table layout I think works really well, and of the 4 boats they've sold thus far, they've all had this layout, and I can see why, because I think it's quite relaxed, it's quite casual, but you do have a proper table in here if you want to. But of course most people will want to be eating out in the cockpit, or of course up on the Flybridge. And then we come to a key part to this boat. They wanted to fit 4 double cabins aboard this 61-foot boat, but they also wanted to give the owner privacy, and by giving them a separate staircase down to their cabin, they've managed to do that really nicely. So you walk down this curved staircase, it feels very open because there's no banister, but what they have included on the inside is this grab rail here, so you've got something to hold on to as you come up and down these stairs. And quite nice that they've got a window here as well, so you get a bit of natural lighting, and if you're out on the water then you're going to be at water level, not looking at the pontoon, but it's a nice touch. And this is a really special, luxurious cabin, and you feel the Kelly Hoppen touches down here. I love what they've done to these side tables here. You've got your downlighter here, you've got this neat pop-out reading light which comes on automatically, and then you've got switches for the lighting, you've got a power socket USB, and you've got another power socket underneath as well with a USB. Here they've resisted putting a chaise longue, and you've got this sort of little dinette down here, which I think is far more useful. You're much more likely to sit and use that when you're getting ready than you are a chaise longue, and obviously it's down at water level, which is really nice. And you've got this black detailing all throughout the boat. You can see it here, you can see it on the door handles. They've even got it inset in the doors. It looks really smart. Completely flat floor and good headroom. I'm about 6'1", and I've got room above my head down here to move around, and you're not stepping over any different levels. Works really well. Big bureau on this side, and again the person on this side of the bed gets exactly the same as the person on that side. Very good storage in here as well. Aside from the drawers you've got dotted all over the place. So if I shut the bathroom door, you have a hanging wardrobe here, and you've actually got another one on the opposite side of the cabin over there as you walk in, and then you have the bathroom, which is very, very nicely finished. You've got more marble, nice deep sink, and then an oversized shower cubicle. It's really wide. You've got a rain shower, nice integrated strip lighting as well, and again the black detailing even down to the shower door handle, the taps, the lining around this little storage shelf. It just feels special. Looks really smart as well. Heading back out of this cabin, you have a pop-out door, and behind here you have a washer dryer, and it was safe as well. It's an owner-run boat. Pearl, I think most people will run this boat themselves and not have crew, so it's useful to have that sort of stuff in the owner's cabin. Now we wind forward up these stairs and head into the saloon proper, little step up, and then you feel the impact of this windscreen. Pearl have been doing this on their boats for a little while now. They pull the windscreen right back over the top of the helm, so it's absolutely flooded with natural light. It means it can get quite hot in here. This boat's got air conditioning and you're probably going to need it even if you keep it in the UK, because the glass area in this saloon is huge, so it will get quite warm in here. But the effect is absolutely lovely when you're driving from down here. It feels like you're outside even though you're nice and protected. And there's more nice detailing to take in as well. I really like these reading lamps that you have overhead above the sofas. You can imagine yourself sitting in a corner here reading the paper, so it's a nice spot to have those lamps. Opposite you have the television. Now if you have the extended dining table option, you'll lose this section, so you can either have a small sofa here or you can just have a bit more storage and the TV pops out from under there as well. And moving forward down this staircase, you're into the guest accommodation, and it feels very open, and it's open to this big windscreen, so you get loads of natural light flooding down here. It's really effective, works very well. So nice, you've got the sky overhead as you come down into this sort of atrium, makes it feel a lot more spacious actually. And we'll look straight back at these identical guest cabins, twin cabins, but there is an infill, so you can pull out a section there, pulls all the way along here. There's an infill cushion, so you can make a double bed in both cabins if you wish. And you notice that guests get the same sort of treatment as the master cabin. You get your downlighter and you get a reading light each, and a power plug as well. There's a television in here as well, and there's some hanging storage inside this cupboard. And this particular cabin is en suite to the day head. This portside cabin, you have the day head here, which is the bathroom that guests will use during the day, but actually if you're staying in that cabin you have direct access through this door. And this is a really good size as well. Again, you've got a really good sized shower cubicle and then a bit of storage under the sink as well, and Tecmar toilets all around. Really nice quality components on board this boat. And if we swing round here on the starboard side, as I said, you have an identical guest cabin, not en suite, but it can create a double as well. Same mechanism, pull out section here, and you can make this into a big double bed if you've got a couple staying in here. Forward we find the VIP cabin. This feels really spacious. There's lots and lots of floor space in front of the bed here, so it's very easy to get changed. You've got storage underneath the bed, it means you don't have to lift up the mattress to access storage. You've got 4 drawers there that are very easy to get to, and like the master cabin, there's storage peppered all the way around. You've got cupboards down there, a couple of drawers, cupboards down there. You've got a big hanging locker here on this side, auto illuminates, and you've got another one this side as well. The TV's hidden here, so this looks like a mirror, and then you turn the TV on and it will pop up on that screen, which is a nice touch. And then you have another hanging locker on this side. You see how the headroom's been boosted over here, so even if you're stepping up next to the bed, you can still stand upright right next to it. And here you can see the strip lighting that's used throughout, and there's some nice indirect lighting as well. That looks really smart. Again, you've got those smart reading lights right behind the bed there, and this is your hatch. The blind's across at the moment, but you have a pane of glass there with an opening hatch, so you can escape onto the foredeck if you need to. Of course, that's going to let natural light down onto the bed as well. This is a neat touch as well, this little pop-out stool, so that tucks away in there, but then if you want to use it, you can perch on that, and then you have this swivelling mirror. There's another classy Kelly Hoppen addition to this cabin, and this cabin has its own ensuite as well. So look at the engine room then. That is accessed via this hatch. We've got the ladder here. Climb down there. And we're in. The generator's running, so sorry if you can hear that. That's the generator there. And then you have the 2 engines. Volvo Penta IPS 1200. 900 horsepower each. That's the largest engine option available on this boat. You can also have 800 horsepower or 725 horsepower. Good space around both engines, you can get around both sides. It's a bit tighter over that side, but it's nice that you can get between them as well. And actually access to the pods is pretty good. That's the IPS pods down there. You get to them and the exhausts really quite easily. Here you can see the barrel that the shore power cable feeds into, that keeps that nice and neat. And you have a hose down here as well, which is quite a nice touch. Means that you can swill out the bilges if you need to without having to connect a hose down here. It's quite nice that you can see labelling on the pipes, say on the pipe work, so you can tell what fluids are running through those pipes and where they're going. Should make it quite easy to spot a leak if there is one. But in general, it's a very smart installation, and it's nice to be on a boat of this size between the engines, and I can pretty much stand upright. Very good headroom down here for a boat of these dimensions. Not so good as you go forward, obviously, but around the engines and when you first drop down into the engine room, it's pretty good. So let's fire these things up and see what she can do out in the water. It's best to take a relaxed approach when driving the Pearl 62. This particular boat's got the largest engines, IPS 1200, that's 900 horsepower per side. And that's giving us a top speed today of around 30 knots. But the cruising sweet spot is between 22 and 25 knots at about 2000 RPM. And at that speed, the boat is very quiet and very refined. And one of the benefits of IPS, apart from the packaging and how much it allows you to get on the lower deck because the engines are set so far back, is that because they're that much further back, you're very well insulated from them. So it's a very relaxing and quiet boat to drive. Now, similar to most IPS installations, you have very light fly-by-wire steering, but it does mean that the turning circle is a little bit ponderous, and it's not a boat that you're going to want to try and steer around the sea. You're best really to set the throttles, sit back in your chair and let the autopilot take the hard yards. But the driving environment down here with the lower helm is really special, and it's because this windscreen extends so far back over your head. There isn't another boat that really has that in this class. It makes it very light and airy. It means you have an excellent view as well, and it means that you feel a bit more like you're outside, despite the fact that you're nice and sheltered on the inside of the boat. The dash layout is quite simple, it's very clean. You have a towering dash in front of you with the two MFDs, very easy to see and interact with. You have obviously touchscreen on these Garmin MFDs, but you also have a set of proper buttons as well, which is quite handy if it's a bit bumpy. It means that you're not stabbing away at a touchscreen, you can use some hard buttons. Personally, I like to see this bank of switches forward of the throttles set further back. At the moment you have to reach over the throttles, which of course are very sensitive because they're fly-by-wire, to reach things like lights, wipers, bilge pumps, etc. It'd be better if they were slightly further forward on the dash so you're not having to reach over the throttles to use them. Cruising range on this boat, well, if you stick to that 22 to 25 knot cruising speed, you're likely to get a range in the region of 250 nautical miles. Of course, if you do displacement speed like we're doing now, then that range is going to rocket. And I think the overwhelming driving sensation on this boat is one of refinement. It feels like you could hoover up a lot of ground very comfortably and very quietly. We've had a good mix of conditions today. We've had a short chop, we've had a deeper swell, and the boat has handled it really well. The hull is soft riding, there's not too much crashing, banging, the interior doesn't squeak, it feels solid, and it feels like you could rely on it if you were caught out in rough weather. I think most people will opt for the largest engine option on this boat, the twin 900 horsepower. It's a 32-ton boat at light ship, so once you've added some cruising gear and you've got full fluids, maybe a jet ski and a tender, the high-low platform, passerelle, seakeeper, etc., you're piling the weight on a bit, you're probably going to benefit from having the larger engines because they're not going to be working as hard to maintain that 22 to 25 knot cruising speed as the smaller engines, and they'll just have a bit more oomph when you want to get the boat out of troughs if you're in bigger seas. In summary, the Pearl 62 is one of the best packaged boats in its sector and has an interior that truly sets it apart from the crowd. It may not be as engaging to drive as its shaft drive counterparts, but that's more of a comment on IPS than it is on the Pearl 62 in particular. What it can guarantee though is a true sense of occasion every time you step on board.